Good afternoon, Thrivers community. Glad you are here. Please say hello. Glad that you're populating. Hey, Aunt Bert. Hey, Miss Lucy. Glad to have you all here. Um, those of you who are others who are here, why don't you go on and say hello so that I can speak to you? Glad that we are able to be here another week. We are right at that almost to that midway mark. Oh, I think we are midway. We're more than midway. hmm Year 8. Hey, Britt. And grateful that God still keeps giving us something to say. And the brain is still working, and God is still good. And that's all the time. And so here we are today, and we want to talk for a few moments today from the topic, Don't Let Your Broken Heart Stay Broken. Hey, Del John, don't let your broken heart stay broken. We are all living life, and life brings about heartbreak, whether it's heartbreak from someone who is no longer with us. Death brings brokenheartedness. Uh, Separation, those who are in separations, divorces, those kinds of things, hearts get broken. There are other ways that your heart gets broken. People treat you badly that you invested in or that you care about. It's heartbreaking. And then there are those things that we always talk about, that when someone infiltrates your heart because they've given you the impression that this is working both ways, and then they are either unloyal or they are don't keep their side of the bargain, and it becomes a tumultuous situation. Then our heart gets broken because there are people who hurt us, and hurt comes with living. So for those of you who say, I don't want to be hurt again, so I'm not going to feel again, I'm not going to care about anybody again, I'm not going to care for anything again, I'm going to inculcate my heart, I'm not going to let anybody in. Well, I want you to know that that means you're not living. Because to live is to care. To live is to feel. And sometimes our hearts are going to be broken. But those are the times when we have to remember who we belong to, and that there's no heart that is broken that God cannot mend. I remember growing up singing the song, Come Ye Disconsolate. I didn't even know what the word disconsolate meant in the early years. But those who are distraught or are hurting, who are going through, who are heartbroken. And the end of that verse says that earth has no sorrow, that heaven cannot heal. That means that heartbreak comes with the territory. Heartbreak means that we are living, and that we are human, and that our hearts are in a position to be broken. And far too often, especially in the culture we live in, heartbreak is something we choose not to feel. And so since we choose not to feel heartbreak, we also choose not to feel altruism. We also choose not to feel empathy. We also choose not to care about one another. We are good with these separations that we are dealing with in our country and in our culture, because it means we don't have to worry about hurt. But I promise you that you are a zombie walking if you don't feel. And you can't say that you love God and then not love your fellow man, because if you don't, then you aren't doing what Jesus said to do in the first place. So we can't make a choice that I'm going to love God and I'm going to leave people alone. That's not how this thing works. You've got to care for others, and that's sometimes hard, because some of us have been really, really hurt, devastatingly hurt, traumatically hurt. But here's my promise to you, and Bishop Cunningham used to say it to me, us all the time, that if you give God, if you give God all the pieces of your heart, then God will mend that heart. But you can't hold on to some of it because you don't want anyone to infiltrate. You don't want anyone in your space. You can't love anything and keep your heart under lock and key. That's not love. It's probably transactional. We live in a very transactional world. And so if you say that you can love someone, but your heart isn't open to anything else, it probably means that it's a quid pro quo, that you love them because they love you. And the Bible says that that's not love. That's not really love, that those who don't know God love like that. But if we're going to be who we say we are, if we're going to walk in the way that we say we're going to walk, if we're going to be whom we say that we are striving to be, we have to choose to love. And that means we have to choose to love even the unlovable. And that means that sometimes our hearts are going to get broken. We don't have to stay in that brokenness, but our hearts will get broken. And heartbreak is really a good thing. I know that sounds really crazy, but heartbreak is good because it means you know you still feel. There is a numbness that is permeating our culture that is just diabolical. It's demonic. And we are so numb that we feel nothing. And to feel nothing means that we're not connected to the source who feels our pain. Our text today is Psalm 147:3, and it says, I sound like old people, 147:3, and it says, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds, healing their pain and comforting their sorrow. If we truly believe in God who does that, then we can't afford to keep living this thing out like we can afford to be numb. We can't afford to be numb. We have to care. We have to feel. And when our hearts are broken, and they will be broken, and that it won't be broken once or twice, hearts get broken consistently. And we got to let young people know that when you try to not have your heart broken, one of two things happen. Either you're numb because you choose not to feel, or you are feeling, but what you feel is hardened. It's like that story about the egg and the carrot and coffee. We got to learn how to make coffee of the situations. We got to be that change we want to see. We can't afford to get soft and wimpy like the carrot in hot water, or hard like the egg in hot water. We've got to learn how to be coffee in hot water. We got to change the atmosphere, change the situation. But the only way we can do that is if we know who is the healer of broken hearts. Otherwise, we are leaning to our own understanding, and our own understanding will take us to a place of hardening. It'll take us to a place called Mara. You all remember the story of Naomi and Ruth? And Naomi said, don't call me Naomi, call me Mara. Call me Mara, which means bitterness. Bitterness will seep in when you refuse to allow God to heal your broken heart. Because when our hearts are not healed, they make up for it. They become calloused. You know how when you are doing something over and over again, the friction causes a callus? Well, when you don't allow God to, when we don't allow God to heal our hearts, we get calloused hearts. We get hearts that have a casing over them because we don't want anyone to get close to us. We don't want anyone to get close to our hearts. And so we create this this fort that we encase around our hearts so nobody gets close. But that's right, Miss Lucy. You have to know who the healer is. And because you know who the healer is, then you can then go to the healer and say, God, you're my healer. I don't want to walk around here hurting, brokenhearted, calloused, numb, mean, because hurt people hurt people. I want to give this all to you, because when I give it to you, they can do whatever they want to. I will be humming in peace while they are trying to figure out how I can be okay when they know they've broken my heart. That place of peace comes with learning what forgiveness is, comes with learning how to love beyond the pain. And the only way to do that is to be completely healed. And that healing can only come from the one who binds up the wounds and heals the brokenhearted. So my encouragement to you today is that no matter what is happening in your life, and there are some of you that what is happening in your life right now is painful. Your heart is broken. You've not yet dealt with that thing that hurt you 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You've got it cupped in a compartment. You got it tucked in this compartment. And every now and then when someone wrestles against it, you lash out because you are still brokenhearted. My encouragement to you today is give it all to God. Give it all to God. Give every piece of that broken heart to God. Yolanda Adams said, my fragile heart is broken, but you're the only one that can put it back together. So I'm trusting you to see me through. And fragile is what our hearts are. Jesus had a fragile heart too. He was heartbroken by Peter, heartbroken by Judas, heartbroken by the people as they heard him but could not listen. But he understood that love was greater than his pain. Love was greater than his hurt. And so he asked God to even heal his heart. That's how he could say, Father, forgive them. That's how he could tell them that his hope for them is that they be saved. That's how he could be there. So we've got to know that each of those fragments that make up this broken heart, don't let them get scattered. Don't let them stay broken. Don't let it be like a puzzle that has to be pieced back together again. Hand every ounce of the pieces to God and watch God meld your heart back together again. And say put the pieces together because pieces can be torn. But when God melds your heart back together again, when God gives you the healing that you're in search of, then you can love again. Don't deprive your life and the life of others with a person who is bitter, still broken, and refuses to care. When you decide in your walk with God, in your journey with God, that you can say, God, I'm giving it all to you because I don't want to live the rest of my life out like this. I want to care again. I want to love again. I want to be open to love. That's love that is person to person. That's love that is community. That's love that is familial. And then there's love that is love for yourself. And often when our hearts are broken, the first one that we attack, the one that we deal with the hardest is ourselves. Don't let your broken heart stay broken. Give God all the pieces and trust that the healer will heal your heart and then open you to what it means to love again in any of those capacities, because you cannot truly love God if your heart is too hardened to love your fellow man. That's our word today. I pray that it bless somebody, and I hope if it bless someone, you will send this to someone else who it may bless. Remember that you cannot continue to live out life and live it well with a broken heart. So give God all the pieces. God will heal your broken heart, and you can love fully again. Don't let your broken heart stay broken. Give it to God and be encouraged. We'll see you soon. Thanks for coming.